Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday, October 18th, 2022, and it's 1:58 in the afternoon. I started to write out something. I've got King Rockford sitting here with me. Hannah's over watching kitties. Her and Josie are having a chit chat this morning. It's pretty priceless. Today's bonus day 142 for me. And as you can see, I've got my leg elevated. I've got my other one partially elevated. It's over here, but my left leg is a big, huge problem. It just keeps coming on like a ton of bricks. And Hannah's been laying on top of me like crazy, and I'm in a lot of pain. Um, so the edema is coming on way stronger. At least it's not in my face, so she's keeping it away from my heart. She was actually laying on my chest. She's been on my chest twice already today, and she was like, I sat down and it was like she was sitting up like a person pawing at me, like, you need to get down because I need to get on top of you. I mean, she's like telling me now. I mean, it's amazing how smart she is. So it's kind of nice that I got King Rockford here, giving her a little break because he understands what what to do as well because she's taught him. So he'll crawl on top of me as well. It's amazing. He's just not near as heavy as her, and I need her heaviness on me. But if I remember, I'll go back and read that scripture that just popped up. Um, but Hannah, she just starts wigging out when she knows I'm not doing well. So this wave of edema comes on, and my skin feels like it's going like this, and it gets so tight and I can feel the fluids moving, and as soon as I get it in the air, she's laying on top of me. The pain, it's like pain, it's electricity running through it. um, it's unreal. And in addition to the congestive heart failure, when you have all the symptoms of end of days, you have you have issues regulating your body temp. Not only is that an issue, if you burn yourself, you don't feel it. I put butternut squash in the oven this morning, and I'm always trying to be careful because ever since my temperature has plummeted, I'm either extremely cold or I get really hot, but I'm mainly cold. Well, I was being careful trying to pull the butternut squash out, and I burned my wrist, well, the top of my hand here. And it felt like a ping, like ding, but then it was gone. Well, it's a blister, like a blister form. And I'm like, ooh, I guess I burned it worse than I thought. So I had written something out that I was going to talk about a couple days ago, and I'll still come back to that later. But since people, I'm sure many of you that are in the listening audience has dealt with hospice care. I dealt with it firsthand with with my father in 2018. It was rough. It was extremely rough. The other thing is your skin's really dry. My lips are dry all the time. My skin's dry, and the lotion that I'm using right now is Eucerin, which is Advanced Repair Hand Cream. I've been putting it on all morning. I can't put enough of it on because my hands are so dry. Um, it just soaks right in. It's like any little bit of moisture I get, it's like my body just absorbs it so fast that it's unreal. And normally this lotion is like extremely greasy, but it's not. It's like it's already soaked right in. So I wanted to talk about hospice care. And although I think it's a great program, I just wonder how many people have really thought about the science of it all. I'm living proof that you can still have a quality of life if you're willing to fight when you have congestive heart failure and you've got all the symptoms of end of days. So with my dad, they were constantly telling me what his symptoms were for pain by his emotions on his face. Now, my dad didn't want drugs. He made that clear, but I had to rely on their expertise to medicate him. I wished I would have known then what I know now. So so let's start with the room. The room temperature, they wanted me to keep cool at all times. Okay. The one thing when you're in your end of days, what happens is your temperature starts dropping. Now, mine a few days ago was 97.8, but then the next day it was 91.1. Well, that's hypothermia. So, as you're laying lifeless, not having a quality of life in a cold room, being drugged, think about how humane is that? So I assisted in my father freezing to death by taking their expertise based on their science. The last thing to go is your heart. So it's a little heartbreaking and hard to digest when you think of that. Because when you're like me and you're mobile and you refuse to be lifeless in a bed and be drugged, you take on a whole new different role. She's helping me get the edema out. So is this one. My temperature I'm regulating on my own. And when my feet get extremely cold, I go underneath her. If the edema gets to a point during the middle of the night, she lays on top of me. I have to constantly, I sit upright when I sleep. So I have anybody that I can tell you, hospice care, anybody that has medical issues, you need anything that's beanbag that you can bend, you can shape, whatever. So when I sleep, I have this behind my head. Funny, I got this for the trip to Hawaii years ago, and I can't even imagine my life without it. And I've got another one underneath my back now too. But I've got these angel pillows wrapped around me to kind of cushion me because um like Rocky gets all wound up, wants to come and love on me, but he doesn't realize if he jumps on me, it hurts. It hurts bad. So I have to kind of protect myself. I need like bumpers so that I'm not hitting myself because I'm going to get bruised. Because if I can burn myself and get a blister and don't feel it, but it's just like a bing, and you're like, well, that didn't, I guess I didn't burn myself. And then you look and you go, oh, I guess I did burn myself when you have a blister. You realize how how a loved one or a family member or a friend or whomever is in hospice, what they go through, and they're not talking. Um, I just, it's just real hard for me to digest it all because I look at it this way. I'm going to live life up until he calls me home. So why would I want a service to tell me how I'm supposed to die? No thanks. I'm going to do it Natalie way. I've always done everything my own way. I have my own style. I have my own everything. That's how he made us all. And it really saddens me that people have conformed for so long, that they're so brainwashed and they're so in denial that they won't listen to someone like me telling you the truth about my journey. I mean, bonus day 142. I've never been down this long, and I'm not bouncing back. I mean, I'm helping my girlfriend get her house in order, and I don't know how much time I got left. So I'm doing as much as I can every day until my body can't go anymore. And then I have to rest. And like today, I mean, my leg is way elevated. Like it's as high, almost as high as the back of the wing chair. Anything less isn't going to work. So, um, I just think there's alternatives to hospice care. You know, when man gives a person their death sentence, oh, you've got 2 weeks to live or 6 months to live or whatever. They said that with my first Rottweiler, Hans, and he proved him wrong. They said, oh, 6 to 9 months. I got a year and a half out of him. So, and my Princess Harley lived till she was 17, and man said, no, she's never going to live that long. Only nine. Nine is usually their death sentence. Well, when she hit 10, my mobile vet said she don't need nothing else from me. You think? But I just wonder, did she ever need anything to begin with? Because everything that she was given was poison. Just saying, just like each and every one of us. So instead of THC and CBD, I have had to start using RSO, which is even stronger because of the pain that I'm experiencing is far worse than I ever even imagined. Now, Princess Harley, in her end of days, she only needed 2 full droppers of THC. She dosed herself. She told me what she wanted. I didn't dose her. She nodded her head and she picked what she wanted. And it was time. And I gave her 2 full doses of a 1:9 ratio of liquid THC. And I'm going to tell you, she fell right to sleep, right by my heart, in my arms on Mother's Day. And as hard as that was, I would I would do it over and over again rather than taking him in and giving him a shot. No thanks. I got a whole nother 7 days with her. Had I listened to any kind of vet, they would have just said, well, there's nothing else we could do. So after watching my dad and listening to hospice and them telling me I would be good at it, I disagreed with it, but I'm finding out maybe I'd be better than I thought I would now that I'm dealing with it firsthand myself. Because I've done my homework, I've done my research as usual, and think about a drunk in the winter. Why do they freeze to death in a car? Because the alcohol makes their body temp plummet Heart rate slows down. What happens when your temperature slows down? Your blood pressure slows down. So if you're going to be in an environment that's cold, what do you think it's going to do to your heart? So when my temperature gets 91, I get up and move around. My blood pressure can afford to go up in the 150s and 160s because the resting is 116 or less over 60s. So I know I can increase my blood pressure and it's not going to hurt me because I'm only doing it to keep myself going because I'm still fighting to stay alive. See how you beat the system that man's designed to, here you go, work for a living, take the drugs, go to hospice care, don't have a will to live, become incapacitated, lay lifeless in a bed till you starve to death and you literally freeze to death. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know how else to look at it. Knowing my own situation, knowing what they told me about the temperature of the room staying cold, telling me when my father had pain so then I could watch for the symptoms. Was it pain or was it because he was cold or something else? I don't know. But I'm still eating every day. I mean, I don't eat a ton anyway. I'm still drinking hot coffee or I mean very little coffee, but like hot tea, juice. I try to drink juices every day, like a multiple array of them. My body will crave what it needs, and that's what I eat and drink. I eat tons of saltine crackers now, which ever since I added those to my diet, I went through a whole realm of chicken broth. And Harley was instrumental in introducing that to me because during her last 7 days of her life, she wanted chicken broth, ice chips, CBD, and THC. So I'm constantly eating saltine crackers. Sometimes Hannah eats them with me. Sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she knows I need to eat them and keep eating them. So when you parallel your personal hospice care and you're using your beloved service dog to assist, because frankly, hospice care won't come and give you a look-see unless you call the doctor and get a doctor's order. Really? I don't need a doctor's order. I've got one right up there waiting for me. But he's still giving me time left on recess. So when you start paralleling the two, me with my dad and watching him, and I'm entering tax returns by his bedside, and now I'm looking at what I'm able to do. I'm able to do things in my girlfriend's house that I never thought I could do, and and then I'm tired. Like my body gets so tired, it's like it's shutting down. Natalie, you need to go lay down right now. And a lot of times I'll sit down and I'll fall right to sleep. And sometimes I'll sleep for 20 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. I don't know how long I'm going to sleep. So I just think we need to think outside the box. And we really need to understand the magnitude of hospice care. Again, do I think it's a bad program? No. Do I think that there's improvements that need to be made? 100%. Because frankly, I don't want to watch another person starve and freeze to death in front of me. No, thank you. I don't think that's humane. A humane way to die, being on drugs. And what are those drugs doing to our loved ones? Are they like the poison for the mind altering drugs and making you go to a dark place, I don't know. But I'm not taking them. I'm taking now from the CBD to THC, the RSO, which has been known to cure cancer. Just saying. So I just felt the need since my health is declining again, and I don't know if the end is near. I mean, I'm at 142 bonus day. I think it said 142. Is that right? I got to look at my calendar to keep track of me. I'm actually keeping track of it that way because it just seems like a better way for me to keep track of it. Um, so I don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, 142. Um, I just thought that I would plant a seed for you or the next person. Start asking questions. I think it's our right, and it's your loved one, your friends, whoever could be entering hospice care. It's their right to their life. Now, my dad gave up. I saw it. I saw he lost his zest for life when he had to wear Depends. But I was still fighting for him. I was fighting for more for his life than he was fighting for his life. But I get it. When you're on mind altering drugs that take you to a dark place, and now you can't control your bowels and your urine. I mean, come now. I get it. I so get it. I am just thankful that I'm still using the bathroom myself. I'm still taking care of myself, even though some days it's a little harder than others. And my voice is really raspy today because the congestion is increasing. Um, so I'm hoping my friend Ed, Mr. Ed, told me to about this herb, starts with an M, Maline or something like that, that's supposed to help with congestion. So I put that in my tea today. Ironically, Kelly had one growing outside of her when I was cleaning out her flower beds. She had one that had already dried on its own, all ready for me for tea. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Kissed by the sun, rained on from the sun. Perfect. So I just crumble it right up in my tea, and it's not furry like it normally is. Oh boy, that's kind of hard to chew on. But this way, at least when you let it dry on the branch or you dehydrate it, it'll at least get more powdery. So just a little tip. But I just think people really need to think outside the box with hospice care because they're part of the tyrant regime as well. And people are going to probably get upset with me because of my opinion. But again, it's your choice what you do. You can rely on hospice care. You can rely on their expertise, just like I did, and take your chances. It's your choice. But for me, I decided I didn't want to go out that way. That I would rather be walking and just my body finally just say when. Whether I collapse or whether I go to sleep and I don't wake up, at least I'm living every day like it's my last with no regrets. If I want to have a little bit of wine or Kelly's pouring a beer and I want to taste it, if I want to eat a piece of chocolate, I've got to enjoy whatever time I have left because none of us know how long we have left. And with the war of good versus evil out there, Jesus is coming for his bride. And he's coming sooner than later. I just never thought during our lifetime we were going to be the ones that experienced him coming. So I might recommend that, ladies and gentlemen, you might look for the Apocrypha they've taken out of the Bibles. Start reading it. It talks about the strength of women and didn't want women to know about. Well, I've always been a strong willed, independent woman. Never needed a man to support me until I got blood clots in my brain in 2020. From then on, I've been fighting to stay alive. And my body is just getting wore out. By the grace of God, I did insanity workouts that my muscle is so intact and so strong that it's keeping my bones safe. I mean, if I normally people would fall, they break something, and I'm not, because my muscles are protecting them. When I fell at Green Acres and went and had an orthopedic surgeon look, he said, "Your muscles are incredible." He said, "That's what protected you from that fall, from you having an injury." I mean, I fell hard on ceramic tile, and all I did is just bruise myself. He said, "Thank God you did those insanity workouts." He said, "They're protecting you. They're helping you." So, just little snippets here and there in your strong-willed mind. I've never wanted to be like anybody else. I've always wanted to be me. And I always want to teach people about what I've discovered with my own body. And everybody's body is different. And it doesn't mean that your way is a bad way. It's just that's the way you choose to live. I just want to share my journey of the effective ways of protecting your body um, while we're still here. So um, I just felt the need today, since I feel like I'm going downhill again, to share my journey up close and personal, and think about what I've said about hospice care, and really look back at your loved one in hospice care and how soon after they went into hospice care were they not talking. I'm still talking on bonus day 142. That speaks volumes when you have all of the symptoms of end of days. Just saying. This is a way better way to go out. Again, it's your choice. So I hope you take what I've said to heart. I've always had a heart of gold. I've always loved unconditionally. No matter who's throwing stones at me, doesn't mean I love them any less. I still love them. I just pray that they see the error of their ways before Judgment Day. That's all I can do anymore. I can't keep wasting my lamp oil on those who feel it's their way or the highway. I'm here to teach, and I'm going to continue to teach during recess until he calls me home to supper. And thus far, he hasn't rang that bell yet. So, love to all bunches and bunches.